there, lovely good morning and welcome to Camnet's Breakfast Show, where we urge you, the viewer, to rise and thrive this particular morning. My name is Joe Smarter, and of course we have nothing but the best for you when it comes to current affairs. Please do stay tuned and be with us on this particular program as you enjoy your Easter holiday wherever you are watching us from. Now we go straight into our health corner.
Good morning and welcome to the Health Corner here on the Breakfast Show. I am Dr. Nakubiana Mfaya. So today we look at yet another interesting mental health disorder. Last week we were talking about depression, and we talked about what depression is and how it comes about and some of the causes, the symptoms, the treatment options that are there, and also how you can prevent yourself from getting depression. So this week we will talk about another mental health disorder or mental disorder that we call anxiety disorder. Now, anxiety disorder is a very common disorder. It's a very common psychiatric disorder that many people have, and it's one of the common disorders actually. Mostly people who have depression are considered to have depression is considered to be the most common single disorder or single condition, mental health condition, but anxiety disorder is considered to be the common group of disorders, because there are a variety of anxiety disorders. So anxiety disorder usually is described as a condition where you have an exaggerated fear or anxiety or worry over certain conditions or certain things, and usually this fear tends to affect the way the person behaves. So there is an exaggerated fear, anxiety, worry, and this leads to an abnormal behavior in the person. And people with anxiety disorder can have both physical symptoms and even psychological symptoms. So they might have physical symptoms of having abdominal pain, chest pain, headache, and they might also have other symptoms of mental symptoms of being restless and just having anxious thoughts. So this week we'll delve more into what really causes anxiety disorder, and we'll also talk about some of the signs and symptoms of anxiety disorder. Now, there are also different types of anxiety disorders, so we'll talk about the different types of anxiety disorders that are there, so that you can just understand what people mean or what we mean when we talk about anxiety disorder. Then we'll also discuss the treatment options. How can you treat anxiety disorder? Is it treatable? And what is the best treatment for anxiety disorder? So today we're talking about what anxiety disorder is, and we are saying that anxiety disorder is an exaggerated fear or anxiety or worry towards a certain situation or an object, and usually leads to having certain behaviors that are not normal, so leads to abnormal behavior. Now, anxiety disorder can affect both men and women, and there's a very small difference in the proportion of men that are affected to the proportion of women. Of course, more women are affected than men, but even men are still affected. So the proportion is about 3-to-1. So for every three women that have anxiety disorder, two men also have anxiety disorder. So it's not only a condition that affects men or affects women, it affects both genders. And anxiety disorder can start even at a very young age. So it can be a child or a teenager who is having a certain fear of something or situations. So it can start at a very young age, and it can grow, and if it's not addressed, it can even lead to being a dysfunctional adult, having a dysfunctional adult who can't really function well in certain situations, because that anxiety was not addressed in the early stages. Then it can still develop even in adulthood, so even adults can still have anxiety, and even older people who are above 50 years old or older can still develop anxiety. So it has got no age limit. Anyone can develop anxiety, and so we need to be able to recognize certain fears that people would have. So if you notice your child is having a certain fear towards something or towards an object, it will be best to be able to address that fear, because it might lead to other problems as well, other mental health conditions or mental health disorders. So it's important that these issues are addressed so that your child or does not become a dysfunctional adult. So today we were talking about anxiety disorder, just to introduce what anxiety disorder is. And we are saying that anxiety disorder is an exaggerated response or a fear that somebody would have towards a situation or an object that would lead them to have abnormal behaviors. So tomorrow we'll talk about the types of anxiety disorders. There are quite a number of disorders that are grouped in the anxiety disorder bracket. So tomorrow we'll look at that, and make sure you invite your friends to watch as well. And if you missed any other episodes here on The Breakfast Show, you can always watch my YouTube channel at Dr. Nakubena Mfaya, and you'd find all these interesting videos that are here on the Camnet TV. Invite your friends, and don't forget to watch again tomorrow. I'll see you tomorrow. Take care and stay healthy, stay blessed.
Okay, now that's our resident doctor there talking about anxiety disorder. Hope you learned one or two things from that particular presentation. But for now, we get into our money markets and see how the kwacha is faring against major convertible foreign currencies. Now, the United States dollar is buying at 24 kwacha, 66 ngwe, and selling at 25 kwacha, 15 ngwe. The euro is buying at 26 kwacha, 67 ngwe, and selling at 27 kwacha, 19 ngwe. The South African rand is buying at 1 kwacha, 30 ngwe, and selling at 1 kwacha, 33 ngwe. The Great British Pound is buying at 31 kwacha, 18 ngwe, and selling at 31 kwacha, 18 ngwe. Now, these foreign exchange rates were released or have been released today at 06:54 hours, and of course they do vary from bank to bank or from bureau to bureau. That's how the kwacha is faring against major convertible foreign currencies this particular morning, Monday, which happens to be the 1st of April. We call it a second chance, and we welcome you to a new month. May your April be filled with nothing but the best of everything. Now, first things first, we go into our first story of the day, and this has to do with energy. Yes, and my question to you is, has the load shedding schedule has it started being implemented in your area? Not the previous one, but the new one that was released yesterday and has Camnet TV. We intercepted it, and here are the details. Now, Zesco Limited says it will, effective 1st April 2024, implement a revised load shedding schedule for residential areas in Lusaka, following persistent outcry from the public of the prolonged 8 hours power outage. In a statement made available to Camnet News, Zesco spokesperson Matongo Maumbi says residential areas in Lusaka will begin to experience 2 staggered power outages of 4 hours in a day in an effort to minimize disruptions and maintain grid stability. He adds that Zesco will, however, maintain the uninterrupted 8-hour schedule on industrial areas, allowing a 16-hour full power supply for better production planning. Mr. Matongo has, however, encouraged the public to practice energy efficiency during load shedding periods. Now, getting into detail of this particular statement, when you look at some of the hours, now there are groups here. So there's Group C. We'll start with Group C because it goes up to Group E. So Group C, the schedule states 06 hours to 10 hours and 18 hours to 22 hours. Now Group D, 10 hours to 14 hours and 22 hours to 02 hours the next morning. Group E, 14 hours to 18 hours and 02 hours to 6 hours. So if you currently have power in your area, just be rest assured that at exactly 10 hours you are likely to face a blackout, from 10 hours to 14 hours, then from 22 hours to 02 hours the next morning. So the 8 hours schedule has been split into 4 hours if you like. So that's the latest development from Zesco, the power utility, the country's power utility company. But you can come through and tell us if you do have power in your area, whether this particular schedule has started being implemented in your area. You are free to hit that particular phone number. In fact, there are 2 below your TV screen there. Please call those 2 numbers, either one of them, so that we can have this particular chart. How do you make of this new load shedding schedule from Zesco? 4 hours apart. So you have power sometime in the morning, then during the you don't have power sometime in the morning, then during the day you do have power, then later in the evening power is cut off from your area. But we want to hear from you. How do you make of this new Zesco load shedding schedule that is being implemented today? So if you do not have power, because I know normally April 1st we like to call it April Fool's Day, so you're not being fooled. If you do have power in your area, you're not being fooled. Hopefully, obviously at 10 hours power will be cut off from your area according to this particular schedule, if we follow it, and if we follow the time that you are required not to have power or to have power in your area. But you can come through and let us know. We are also live on our Facebook page, Camnet TV. Please leave a comment, like the page, share, and be sure to comment on this particular subject matter. Now, moving on, let's go to another story that borders on energy. Now, this has to do with the Energy Regulation Board, ERB. Now, you do remember that yesterday, Sunday, of course, it was Easter Sunday. However, the Energy Regulation Board did its monthly review, and these are the details. Okay, now the Energy Regulation Board, ERB, has maintained the pump prices for petroleum products for the month of April 2024. Now, in a statement available to Camnet News, ERB board chairperson Reynolds Bowa says petrol will continue selling at 31 kwacha 12 ngwe per litre. Diesel will still be sold at 28 kwacha 78 ngwe per litre, and kerosene at 20 kwacha 44 ngwe per litre. He explains that the maintenance of the pump prices is due to the changes in the two key fundamentals that determine domestic prices of fuel. He disclosed that the key fundamentals include the international oil prices and the exchange rate of the kwacha against the United States dollar, which resulted in changes in the domestic fuel prices that were below threshold of 2.5%. There you have it. The fuel pump prices have been maintained by the Energy Regulation Board. So this indicates that they will continue to petrol will continue rather to be sold at the same price that it was being sold at in the previous month. So there's no change in that particular area. We still urge you to come through and give us your call regarding this particular development from the Energy Regulation Board, ERB. Now we go to political matters and we zoom our lenses on the United Party for National Development, the governing administration, where its Deputy Secretary General, Madam Gertrude Menda, says the 51% shares of Mopani Copper Mine that International Resource Holdings retains in the mine will drive the country's economy recovery following its inactivity for 3 years. In an interview with Camnet News, the party's Deputy SG explains that the agreement between the two entities will enhance production of copper in the mine, thereby generating revenue that will contribute to the country's gross domestic product, the GDP. We got this particular clip. We'll be right back on the other side, expecting your calls and to interact with you. Please stay tuned.
The natural capital, that is it, the copper underground and the minerals underground. But of what use is it to just sit and say, I have got copper, I've got these minerals, Zambia we have, but it stays in the ground. Of what use is it? We need to exploit it, we need to extract it and sell it and earn foreign exchange. But we didn't have resources to extract it, to invest in that mine, to start extracting. So that's why I say, okay, let's just sell part of our shareholding. Let the money come in, then the mine can start operating. That's what it means. So I don't know, people, they don't understand, and some do understand, but deliberately they want to mislead the Zambian people. Mopani now is going to start production. Jobs will be created. Suppliers, that is direct jobs. Indirectly, through suppliers, they'll benefit. The money will come to Zambians. There will be multiplier effects. Those who are working in the mines, they will have disposable income. They will also be able to spend it into the Zambian market and economy and so on. So, and mind you, the mines, Zambia has always depended so much on mines for foreign exchange earnings, for contribution to the treasury, to the national treasury, and so on, and even for job creation. Now,
okay, that's the UPND Deputy SG, Madam Gertrude Menda. They are explaining in detail about the deal, or the latest deal in town, the Mopani deal that sees the International Resources Holdings getting 51% shares of Mopani copper mines, and obviously the government of the Republic of Zambia on behalf of its citizens getting 49%. This debate continues to continue being debated by different stakeholders from different industries, from different sections of society, whether it is a good deal for Zambia or not. And obviously the Deputy Secretary General for the UPND there making it clear from her party's point of view, that this is a good deal. Jobs will be created on the copper belt, and it's not good to have copper in the ground. It's better to have a partner. So there you have it. You can come through, obviously, and give us your own submission and let us know what you make of the Mopani deal as we wait for our guest, Mr. Banda, Samuel Banda, who's going to be coming through. He is the executive director for ANDD, Advocates for National Development and Democracy, and he is a mining enthusiast, an economy enthusiast as well, and will be weighing on this particular matter of Mopani and other many national matters this particular day as it comes. It is the 1st of April, and it's good to know that Bettina Msonda is glued in to her TV screen right now, watching us. Thank you so much. You say you are watching us from PHI. How's PHI this particular morning? We do appreciate your support. And also, Simbai Chilombe is also tuned in. Thank you so much. Freddy Simaswana also tuned in. Thank you so much. And also Cosma Sunday tuned in this particular morning, the 1st of April. Thank you so much. Raphael Chibwe tuned in. Thank you so much. Connor Turner also tuned in. We appreciate. Mwasha Muitwa tuned in as well. Thank you so much for making this particular decision. You won't be disappointed. We'll give you nothing but the best in current affairs. Now, still moving on, of course, in politics this particular morning, former Republican President Edgar Lungu has advised the United Party for National Development, UPND administration, to seek dialogue from the previous administration to tackle national challenges, particularly regarding climate change. Meanwhile, the former head of state has commended Mambilima Member of Parliament, Jinch Senga, for her perceptive insights into the country's administration, referring to her as a prophetess. Here's a clip. We'll be right back.
Former Republican President Edgar Lungu has offered advice to current leaders, urging them to seek guidance without feeling ashamed. The former head of state made these remarks during his attendance at Liberty Life Assembly in Lusaka's Minwood Ndeke area, where he was invited to grace the launch of a book during a church Easter service. During his address to the congregation, the former head of state spoke about the challenges he faced during his tenure and how he was mocked for his stance on climate change. He emphasized the importance of seeking advice in handling national issues, offering his availability to provide guidance.
When I was president, I said the climate change, I spoke about it at length one time. And somebody says it's lack of vision. Today, we have indicated, you and me, that the problem. You know, I avoid being arrogant, but sometimes it just comes inevitably. My message is that please ask your neighbor if your neighbor knows it better. Don't be ashamed of asking your friend that.
He also praised Mambilima area Member of Parliament Jean Chisanga, referring to her as a prophetess for her insight into the country's administration.
Young lady, what's your name from Mambilima? Come and stand with me here. This young lady is a prophetess. She saw what others did not see. She had a vision. And she was able to say, no, let me speak what my vision tells me to. Reverend, thank you so much. Bosa Reverend, ziko mukwambiri.
I don't want to waste your time.
So wafuna kutaya ntawu yanu yambiri.
But I should thank you
Wafuna kuyambikani
for being a truthful witness.
The former head of state was accompanied by the United Kwacha Alliance led by interim chairperson Sakwiwa Sikota, as well as members of the Patriotic Front. Miriam Kaimba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Okay, so that's the 6th Republican president, or former president, Dr. Edgar Chagwa Lungu there. In that particular clip, attending a church service and obviously encouraging the governing UPND to engage in dialogue with the previous administration. Now, moving on, still in politics and talking about the United Kwacha Alliance, has accused the governing UPND of formulating tactics to delay the registration of the alliance, citing the threats that the alliance poses. In an interview with Camnet News, UKA chairperson Savo Imboera says the reluctance by authorities to facilitate registration of the alliance appears rooted in their anticipated displacement from government. We do have a clip. Stay tuned.
In the work of democracy, tolerance of divergent political views is key in fostering an enabling environment for citizens who wish to assume precedence to participate in the development of the country. Zambia, being one such nation, it is important that it embraces the agenda of citizens of different political opinions to have their way on the ballot so the citizenry of the country can decide their fate. Accusations have been leveled against the United Party for National Development UPND for employing tactics to prevent the registration of the United Kwacha Alliance UKA, citing the UPND's fear of being displaced in government. In an interview with Camnet News, UKA media chairperson Savoy Imboira has challenged the UPND to stop influencing decision-making of the parties involved in the registration process if indeed they are not threatened by the alliance.
The UPND keep on saying all these things about UKA, and they're saying UKA is not a serious alliance and stuff like that. Why are they failing to register an alliance which is not serious? They know that the alliance which is going to take them out of power is certainly UKA, and that is why they're doing all these delaying tactics. From the time that we announced to the public that we're going to have this alliance and we're going to register it and all those things, they have done all sorts of tricks to ensure that we don't even register. Just what is this? The reviewing of our fingerprints had to go all the way to the Inspector General. So just yesterday we got a call that the constitution that we had submitted can't be found. So we had to resubmit the constitution. So there are all these delaying tactics because they should have answered us by this week to tell us how far they have gone in terms of clearing our fingerprints. So just a clearance of the fingerprints is a whole Inspector General that is being involved.
She has, however, emphasized that despite the unnecessary prolonged registration process, the alliance will continue on its agenda until it meets its desired objectives in 2026.
As individual political parties. So even right now, we can register UKA or not if we wanted, just that we chose to register it. But whether they register us or not, the Zambian public needs to know that whether they register us or not, then it really won't matter. Because if they register us, maybe we can say, all of us stand on UKA. Maybe that's what we can do. But if they don't register us, well and good. And people also need to realize that the constitution right now has changed. A long time ago, when UDA was registered, you could stand on an alliance as people or political parties that wanted to stand on the alliance name. But right now, the way the constitution is, you can only stand on a political party. So when we register an alliance, it's still up to us to decide how people are going to be standing when it comes to elections. So what the UPND is doing in terms of their Mingalado to destabilize UKA and everything, it really won't work because UKA is a people's movement, and whether registered or not, will continue operating. Right now,
on Wednesday last week, UPND Lusaka Province Youth Chairperson Anderson Banda said the ruling party was not intimidated by the UKA alliance. Mr. Banda also accused UKA of being a cartel with the sole purpose of disseminating falsehoods and fostering animosity towards Republican President Hakainde Hichilema.
So you create a company called UKA, you create a cartel called UKA, with one aim of just fighting one citizen in the name of Hakainde Hichilema. We are not going to allow you. Be ashamed that the man is even working for you, is even sorting out the mess that you created. Congolese are made. For your own information, it's in public domain that they put Zesco as a Koraki. Apaso Tikamba Zesco sempre Bapoka. Sempre right. The same selfish people. They never consulted anyone that which property can we put as a country as Gorato. Tifuna Utenga Congolese for consumption. They did it out of selfishness. They did it out of...
Chanda Mwango for Camnet News in Lusaka.
Okay, so there you have it. Now that's a report obviously filed in by our reporter, Chanda Mwango, right here at Camnet TV. Now we move on to matters that have to do with mining. Now a mining expert, Dr. Michael Msialike, has emphasized the need for Zambia to manage the mineral deposits sustainably in order for the future generation to benefit from the country's mineral wealth. Now, Dr. Msialike was speaking at a stakeholders engagement held in Solwezi district. We do have a clip. Let's take a look at it. We'll be right back.
We have to learn from the mistakes that we made previously. If you go to the copper belt, if you went to the copper belt, maybe now life is beginning to come back. But we know what happened in the early 90s. We know what happened in the late 80s, early 90s, up to 2000. Everything went down. And then we're asking ourselves to say, we have been producing copper and cobalt for years and years. What did we make? Nothing. So the world has realized to say, we have to change the way we manage these resources. This time around, the boom is coming. But are we prepared? Are we prepared to do things differently? Because if we don't do differently, this story, we have read this book before. If we are going to do the same things that we did in the manner in which we plan to manage our resources, we will end up in the exactly same place where we were in the early 90s, early 2000s. So that's where now the issue of why we are here arises. To say, why are we here? So this climate change is going to result in new technologies being made that require clean energy. Now these new technologies are going to bring about demand, new demand in mineral resources. Now, this is an opportunity. This boom presents very real economic opportunities for countries like ours.
Okay, now that's Dr. Msialike there. Do you agree with his observation there when he was speaking at the stakeholders engagement in Solwezi? Now, moving on, we go to matters that border on information regulation, and we are talking about ZICTA, or the Information and Communication Authority, ZICTA. Contact center agent Memories Chula says legally couples are not obliged to share their phone passwords with their partners in the face of increasing scammers. Speaking at the stakeholders engagement in Solwezi, Ms. Chula explained that it is upon one's choice to share a password, however, emphasizing the implications. We'll go on this particular clip. We'll be right back.
It's personal to you. If you choose to share your thing with your wife, it is up to you. But what I am telling you, legally, you're not obliged to. Yeah. Do you get my point? This is because, here's the thing, scammers will not even come for you. They will come for your wife to get to you. So sometimes it's important that we have these passwords on our phones, because if they hack your wife, they'll hack you. Because they'll have access to that information. So it's very important. Phone passwords is also important, even on these phones. Monitor what your children are doing, especially this cocoa melon. The world is different. Cocoa melon is no longer just cocoa melon. Cocoa melon, you find that maybe there's look and look in that cocoa melon. or Jennifer and Jane, that Cocomelon. So we have to be very careful what we're exposing our children to. Those of us that are in business, yes, you're trying to get businesses, but be careful who you share your information with. You're trying to get customers, but be very careful. Do not pay for things that you've not seen. You want to join these Ponzi schemes, because sometimes what happens is that for scammers, most of us, if we were to ask how many friends you have in the physical world, you probably tell me you have 5 friends. But if you were to check your Facebook account, you have 5,000 friends. And those are 5,000 strangers that you expose your information to. So we have.
Okay, so that's the ZICTA information agent there at a stakeholders meeting in Solwezi. Now we're moving on, and we bring matters of alcohol, seeing that this has been a long weekend on its own, and of course a lot of alcohol drinking has actually taken place. Now let's get into the story. A concerned citizen for justice and human rights organization has advised women in Lusaka's Kanyama compound to resist the temptation of alcohol abuse and embrace avenues of empowerment, such as the Constituency Development Fund, CDF. The non-government organization based in Kanyama Township, through its spokesperson Moses Shauti, has observed with concern the level at which women in the area are abusing alcohol, citing poverty as one of the major factors. We go on this particular clip. We'll be right back and expecting your calls.
Concerned Citizen for Justice and Human Rights, a non-government organization dedicated to safeguarding individuals' rights, has voiced deep concern over the persistent issue of alcohol abuse among women residing in Lusaka's Kanyama compound. The non-governmental organization, based in Kanyama Township, believes poverty is one of the major factors contributing to this issue. Recognizing the urgent needs for intervention, the NGO has issued a heartfelt plea to women in Kanyama compound, urging them to resist the temptation of alcohol abuse and embrace avenues of empowerment. One such avenue highlighted by the organization is the Constituency Development Fund, CDF. The Constituency Development Fund, CDF, is a government initiative aimed at providing financial resources to communities for development projects. The organization believes that by supporting women in Kanyama to access these funds, they will be able to start their own businesses and improve their economic situation, which may reduce their reliance on alcohol.
A lot of women this time, they're engaging themselves so much in alcohol abuse. I think it's very, very sad. The best they can do for now is to take advantage of the CDF, which is readily available. In that way, they are going to be empowered, and of course small businesses will be boosted as a result of the CDF, which government has implemented. The other thing is that women should also engage themselves in different trainings, like poultry, of course chicken rearing. This will end these vices of alcohol abuse.
In light of recent developments, including a compelling story aired on Camnet TV, where a woman vowed to abstain from alcohol abuse once empowered with business capital, the NGO emphasizes the transformative power of economic empowerment in combating substance abuse and fostering positive change within communities.
Women, please, we encourage you, visit your nearest constituencies wherever you are, especially in Kanyama. Take time to go to the constituents where you find out the programs that the MP is having for you, and that will help you to discover, even to find out what the government has planned for you, unlike going to taverns in the morning.
Miriam Kemba reporting for Camnet TV News.
Okay, concerns of alcohol drinking or abusing of alcohol continue to be echoed in different parts of Lusaka. In that particular story obviously came from Kanyama Township right here in Lusaka. And the situation is similar in most parts of Lusaka. Don't only talk about densely populated townships, but also the residential areas. When you go through these night spots, you find that they are normally packed every day, including today, Monday, which happens to be the 1st of April, and it is a public holiday. Obviously, these places will be packed with men and women. Now, that's a concern coming from that particular organization. Obviously, you're talking about the high levels of abusing alcohol in Kanyama compound or township by the women folk, but the case is similar in most parts of Lusaka. When you go to any drinking place, you find that women are also there, regardless of which part of Lusaka you go to, whether it's a residential area, whether it's a densely populated area, you will find that both men and women are abusing alcohol. Now let's move on to matters that border on farming. Now, Remnant Farmers Chief Executive Officer Ruth Sivanda says training has commenced for drought-affected farmers on the utilization of irrigation technology to counteract the adverse effects of climate change on agriculture. Here's a report.
As the impact of climate change on agriculture becomes increasingly evident, adapting to new methods of farming is the remedy to the unprecedented weather patterns. Last year's farming season saw many farmers losing their crops due to the fluctuating rainfall patterns. In response, Republican President Hakainde Hichilema declared the El Nino-induced drought as a national disaster and state of emergency. In view of these challenges, Remnant Farmers CEO Ruth Sivanda has taken the initiative to train farmers in irrigation technology. This training aims to prepare them for unforeseen circumstances such as the drought and ensure their resilience in the face of climate change. She has urged farmers to take advantage of the drought by investing in irrigation material as business thrives on the scarcity of crops on the market.
But a lot of farmers, they don't know what to do, when to do, and how to do it. So now, hence the idea of me having everyday online trainings. And then after they have done online trainings, we come up with a physical demo like the one that we have today, so that we tend to know to say what we are teaching them online, are they really implementing it, or are they getting the concept? Even if they are learning online, we are found to say having a demo is something that is helping a lot of farmers. So we are training them. One of them is chili, sorghum, and also we are teaching them to go irrigating, or starting from bucket irrigation, to start with what they can manage without stressing to say. So if they can dig a well at the farm, they can start using bucket irrigation and looking at a number of plants that are drought-resistant crops. So when you look at a drought, I had planted 800 kg that has dried, but I'm not looking at it at a negative point of view, because definitely when it comes to agriculture itself, money is made by the scarcity of the crop on the market. So it means to say this year there is money for a farmer, because most of the farmers that have been hit badly in terms of drought, these who are getting into agriculture now and deciding to get into irrigation, they'll make a lot of money out there.
Tomaida Musanka, a small-scale farmer, has appealed to the government to provide loans to the affected farmers who lost their crops owing to the drought, to help them procure irrigation equipment to sustain them during times of drought.
So I would encourage maybe government to somehow maybe help small-scale farmers with irrigation equipment. I'm aware that there are no taxes, or there are minimal taxes on farming implements. So I would maybe want a situation where maybe they give grants or loans to small-scale farmers so that they can put up irrigation system there, because small-scale farmers still feed their families from those small farms. They still take their children to school from those small farms. So if they have irrigation, we won't have the crisis we've just experienced.
Chanda Mwango for Camnet News in Lusaka.
Okay, matters that have to do with farming there and combating the effects of climate change or the effects of El Nino. As you know, the Republican president, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, declared drought in most parts of the country as a national disaster. Now, obviously, Madam Ruth there, Ruth Swanda and her team are doing everything possible to combat the effects of climate change. We'll now go for a break. When we come back, we are expecting your calls and obviously to interact with you as well as our guests to be on set so that we delve into our main interview. Do stay tuned.
Enjoy the benefits of an instant loan with us ranging from 1,000 kwacha to 750,000 kwacha paid express once collateral is viewed, valued and verified. Call us on 0763 595 359 or 0779 432 993. Classified Financial Express, here as your financial friend.
Introducing Darren B, a touch of class. Are you looking for the perfect place to elevate your style and glam up? Look no further. Darren B Touch of Class is your one-stop destination for hair and makeup transformation. Walk into Darren B and walk out feeling like a star. Your transformation starts here. Call us on 0772 870 588 or WhatsApp on 0972 049 213 to book your appointment today. Payments are made via mobile money or point-of-sale machine. Strictly no cash payments. We are located along Mossy Road in Ibex Hill, fourth close on the left after Kalikiliki Police Post. At Darren B, we pride ourselves on our team of dedicated and trained personnel ready to pamper both women and children. Darren B is open 7 days a week from 0720 hours to 1740 hours. From trendy hairstyles and stylish makeovers to flawless makeup, we do it all. Darren B, a touch of class. Are you perplexed about how to overcome the financial, psychological and mental health challenges around you? Well, worry no more, because help is here. The Healing Word Ministries International, in conjunction with Camnet TV, cordially invites the general public to a one-day seminar on mental health challenges and mental wellness solutions for individuals, families, the church and society. Speakers include Dr. William Perry, President, Mental Health Association of Zambia; Dr. George Tafuna, psychotherapist, Chainame National Mental Health Hospital; Mr. Friday Salamo, Senior Mental Health Officer, the Ministry of Health; Professor Michael Munkumba, Executive Mentor and Life Coach, Mihachi Group; Bishop Peter Tanda Molenga, Presiding Bishop, Christian Word Center International; Pastor Lizzie Dakambuzi, President, Aglo International; and Dr. Evans Perry from the Spirit of Faith Ministries. The venue is at the Healing Word Ministries International Church in Ibex Hill, Lusaka, on the 6th of April 2024 from 0830 hours to 17 hours at only 250 kwacha all round, food inclusive. You can get your tickets from Camnet office in Ibex Hill between 08 hours and 17 hours, or you can buy via mobile money on 0962 965883 or 0979 753010. For more details, you can call 0962 965883 or 0979 753010. Don't miss. See you there.
Okay, thank you so much for still joining us on Camnet's Breakfast Show, where we're urging you to rise and thrive this particular morning, Monday, 1st April. in the year 2024. We welcome you to a new month as we allow Mr. Banda to make his way to our set this particular morning as we begin to discuss matters of national interest. But just to refresh your memory, in case you're just joining us, the stories that we have this particular morning are that ZESCO Limited will, effective today, Monday, April 1st, 2024, implement a revised load shedding schedule for residential areas in Lusaka following persistent outcry from the public of the prolonged 8 hours power outage. Now, in a statement made available to Camnet News, ZESCO spokesperson Matongo Maumbi says residential areas in Lusaka will begin to experience 2 staggered power outages of 4 hours in a day in an effort to minimize disruptions and maintain grid stability. He adds that ZESCO will, however, maintain the uninterrupted 8-hour schedule for industrial areas, allowing a 16-hour full supply for better production planning. Mr. Matongo has, however, encouraged the public to practice energy efficiency during load shedding periods. And also, moving on, the Energy Regulation Board, ERB, has maintained the fuel pump prices for petroleum products for the month of April 2024. Now, in a statement available to Camnet News, ERB Board Chairperson Reynolds Boa says petrol will continue selling at 31 kwacha 12 ngwe per litre, diesel at 28 kwacha 78 ngwe per litre, and kerosene at 20 kwacha 44 ngwe per litre. He explains that the maintenance of the pump prices is due to the changes in the 2 key fundamentals that determine domestic prices of fuel. He disclosed that the key fundamentals include the international oil prices and the exchange rate of the kwacha against the United States dollar, which resulted in exchanges in the domestic fuel prices that were below threshold of 2.5%. Moving on to matters of politics, just in case you're just joining us this particular morning, the United Party for National Development, UPND, Deputy Secretary General Gertrude Menda says the 51% shares of Mopani copper mine that International Resource Holdings retains in the mine will drive the country's economy recovery following its inactivity for 3 years. In an interview with Camnet News, the party's Deputy SG explains that the agreement between the 2 entities will enhance production of copper in the mine, thereby generating revenue that will contribute to the country's gross domestic product, the GDP. Here's a clip.
The natural capital, that is the copper underground and the minerals underground. But of what use is it to just sit and say, I have got copper, I've got these minerals, Zambia we have, but it stays in the ground. Of what use is it? We need to exploit it, we need to extract it and sell it and earn foreign exchange. But we didn't have resources to extract, to invest in that mine, to start extracting. So that's why I say, okay, let's start sell part of our shareholding. Let the money come in, then the mine can start operating. That's what it means. So I don't know, people, they don't understand, and some do understand, but deliberately they want to mislead the Zambian people. Mopani now is going to start production. Jobs will be created. Suppliers, that is direct jobs. Indirectly, through suppliers, they'll benefit. The money will come to Zambians. There will be multiplier effects. Those who are working in the mines, they will have disposable income. They will also be able to spend it into the Zambian market and economy and so on. So, and mind you, the mines, Zambia has always depended so much on mines for foreign exchange earnings, for contribution to the treasury, to the National Treasury, and so on, and even for job creation. Now,
former Republican President Edgar Lungu has offered advice to current leaders, urging them to seek guidance without feeling ashamed. The former head of state made these remarks during his attendance at Liberty Life Assembly in Lusaka's Minwood Ndeke area, where he was invited to grace the launch of a book during a church Easter service. During his address to the congregation, the former head of state spoke about the challenges he faced during his tenure and how he was mocked for his stance on climate change. He emphasized the importance of seeking advice in handling national issues, offering his availability to provide guidance.
When I was president, I said the climate change, I spoke about it at length one time. And somebody says it's lack of vision. Today, we have indicated, you and me, that the problem. You know, I avoid being arrogant, but sometimes it just comes inevitably. My message is that please ask your neighbor if your neighbor knows it better. Don't be ashamed of asking your friend that
he also praised Mambilima area Member of Parliament Jean Chisanga, referring to her as a prophetess for her insight into the country's administration.
Young lady, what's your name from Mambilima? Come and stand with me here. This young lady is a prophetess. She saw what others did not see. She had a vision. And she was able to say, no, let me speak what my vision tells me to. Reverend, thank you so much. I don't want to waste your time. But I should thank you for being a truthful witness.
The former head of state was accompanied by the United Kwacha Alliance, led by interim chairperson Sakwiwa Sikota, as well as members of the Patriotic Front. Miriam Kaimba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
In the work of democracy, tolerance of divergent political views is key in fostering an enabling environment for citizens who wish to assume precedence to participate in the development of the country. Zambia, being one such nation, it is important that it embraces the agenda of citizens of different political opinions to have their way on the ballot so the citizenry of the country can decide their fate. Accusations have been leveled against the United Party for National Development UPND for employing tactics to prevent the registration of the United Kwacha Alliance UKA, citing the UPND's fear of being displaced in government. In an interview with Camnet News, UKA media chairperson Savoy Imboila has challenged the UPND to stop influencing decision-making of the parties involved in the registration process if indeed they are not threatened by the alliance.
The UPND keep on saying all these things about UKA, and they're saying UKA is not a serious alliance and stuff like that. Why are they failing to register an alliance which is not serious? They know that the alliance which is going to take them out of power is certainly UKA, and that is why they're doing all these delaying tactics. From the time that we announced to the public that we're going to have this alliance and we're going to register it and all those things, they have done all sorts of tricks to ensure that we don't even register. Just what is this? The reviewing of our fingerprints had to go all the way to the Inspector General. So just yesterday we got a call that the constitution that we had submitted can't be found. So we had to resubmit the constitution. So there are all these delaying tactics because they should have answered us by this week to tell us how far they have gone in terms of clearing our fingerprints. So just a clearance of the fingerprints It's a whole Inspector General that is being involved.
She has, however, emphasized that, despite the unnecessary prolonged registration process, the alliance will continue on its agenda until it meets its desired objectives in 2026.
Stood as individual political parties. So even right now, we can register UKA or not if we wanted, just that we chose to register it. But whether they register us or not, the Zambian public needs to know that whether they register us or not, then it really won't matter. Because if they register us, maybe we can say, all of us stand on UKA. Maybe that's what we can do. But if they don't register us, well and good. And people also need to realize that the constitution right now has changed. A long time ago, when UDA was registered, you could stand on an alliance as people or political parties that wanted to stand on the alliance name. But right now, the way the constitution is, you can only stand on a political party. So when we register an alliance, it's still up to us to decide how people are going to be standing when it comes to elections. So what the UPND is doing in terms of their Mingalato to destabilize UKA and everything, it really won't work, because UKA is a people's movement, and whether registered or not, will continue operating. Right now,
on Wednesday last week, UPND Lusaka Province Youth Chairperson Anderson Banda said the ruling party was not intimidated by the UKA alliance. Mr. Banda also accused UKA of being a cartel with the sole purpose of disseminating falsehoods and fostering animosity towards Republican President Hakainde Hichilema.
So you create a company called UKA, you create a cartel called UKA, with one aim of just fighting one citizen in the name of organization. We are not going to allow you. Be ashamed that the man is even working for you, is even sorting out the mess that you created. Congo is a minimum. For your own information, it's in public domain that they put Zesco as a Koraki. Apaso Tikamba Zesco sempre Bapoka. Sempre Tilibema right. The same selfish people. They never consulted anyone that which property can we put as a country as Gorato. Tifuna Uteka Congo is for consumption. They did it out of selfishness. They did it out of...
Chanda Mwango for Camnet News in Lusaka.
Okay, so those are some of the stories that we are airing to you, the viewers out there, on a public holiday like this one, where you are at home, obviously, or on that particular holiday, wherever you are watching us from. Please come through and make your own submission regarding those particular stories. Now, another story has to do with mining, where a mining expert, Dr. Michael Msialike, has emphasized the need for Zambia to manage the mineral deposits sustainably in order for the future generation to benefit from the country's mineral wealth. Now, we do have a clip on this particular story. Just in case you are joining us, please indulge yourself in this particular clip. We'll be right back with more.
We have to learn from the mistakes that we made previously. If you go to the copper belt, if you went to the copper belt, maybe now life is beginning to come back. But we know what happened in the early 90s. We know what happened in the late 80s, early 90s, up to 2000. Everything went down. And then we're asking ourselves to say, we have been producing copper and cobalt for years and years. What did we remain? Nothing. So the world has realized to say, we have to change the way we manage these resources. This time around, the boom is coming. But are we prepared? Are we prepared to do things differently? Because if we don't do differently, this story, we have read this book before. If we are going to do the same things that we did in the manner in which we plan to manage our resources, we will end up in the exactly same place where we were in the early 90s, early 2000s. So that's where now the issue of why we are here arises. To say, why are we here? So this climate change is going to result in new technologies being made that require clean energy. Now these new technologies are going to bring about demand, new demand in mineral resources. Now, this is an opportunity. This boom presents very real economic opportunities for countries like ours.
Okay, now obviously that's a story coming all the way from Solwezi. Now, still in Solwezi Information and Zambia Information and Communication Technology Authority, ZICTA Contact Center Agent Memories Chula says the legally couples are not obliged to share their phone passwords with their partners in the face of increasing scammers. We do have a clip. Let's go this particular clip. We'll be right back.
Something happens, it's personal to you. If you choose to share your thing with your wife, it is up to you. But what I am telling you, legally, you're not obliged to.
Yeah.
Do you get my point? This is because, here is the thing, scammers will not even come for you. They will come for your wife to get to you. So sometimes it's important that we have these passwords on our phones, because if they hack your wife, they'll hack you. Because they'll have access to that information. So it's very important. Phone passwords is also important, even on these phones. Monitor what your children are doing, especially this cocoa melon. The world is different. Cocoa melon is no longer just cocoa melon. Cocoa melon, you find that maybe there's Luke and Luke in that cocoa melon, or Jennifer and Jane in that cocoa melon. So we have to be very careful what we're exposing our children to. Those of us that are in business, yes, you're trying to get businesses, but be careful who you share your information with. You're trying to get customers, but be careful. Do not pay for things that you've not seen. You want to join these Ponzi schemes, because sometimes what happens is that for scammers, most of us, if we were to ask how many friends you have in the physical world, you probably tell me you have 5 friends. But if you were to check your Facebook account, you have 5,000 friends. And those are 5,000 strangers that you expose your information to. So we have.
Okay, so that's a story obviously coming all the way from Solwezi as well, from the information and from ZICTA rather, coming all the way from ZICTA. We do have another story as we allow our guests to come through and settle down on set, so that we begin to get into the nitty-gritties of our main interview. But for now, let's take it to Kanyama Township, where an organization that champions human rights is concerned with the alcohol abuse by the women folk in that particular area. A similar situation in most of the parts of Lusaka City and Zambia at large. We'll be right back.
Concerned Citizen for Justice and Human Rights, a non-government organization dedicated to safeguarding individuals' rights, has voiced deep concern over the persistent issue of alcohol abuse among women residing in Lusaka's Kanyama compound. The non-governmental organization, based in Kanyama Township, believes poverty is one of the major factors contributing to this issue. Recognizing the urgent needs for intervention, the NGO has issued a heartfelt plea to women in Kanyama compound, urging them to resist the temptation of alcohol abuse and embrace avenues of empowerment. One such avenue highlighted by the organization is the Constituency Development Fund, CDF. The Constituency Development Fund, CDF, is a government initiative aimed at providing financial resources to communities for development projects. The organization believes that by supporting women in Kanyama to access these funds, they will be able to start their own businesses and improve their economic situation, which may reduce their reliance on alcohol.
A lot of women this time, they're engaging themselves so much in alcohol abuse. I think it's very, very sad. The best they can do for now is to take advantage of the CDF, which is readily available. In that way, they are going to be empowered, and of course small businesses will be boosted as a result of the CDF, which government has implemented. The other thing is that women should also engage themselves in different trainings, like poultry, of course chicken rearing. This will end these vices of alcohol abuse.
In light of recent developments, including a compelling story aired on Camnet TV, where a woman vowed to abstain from alcohol abuse once empowered with business capital, the NGO emphasizes the transformative power of economic empowerment in combating substance abuse and fostering positive change within communities.
Women, please, we encourage you, visit your nearest constituencies wherever you are, especially in Kanyama. Take time to go to the constituents where you find out the programs that the MP is having for you, and that will help you to discover, even to find out what the government has planned for you, unlike going to taverns in the morning.
Miriam Kemba reporting for Camnet TV News.
Okay, thank you so much for still joining us on Camnet TV's Breakfast Show, where we are urging you, the viewer, to rise and thrive this particular morning as we continue celebrating Easter. But we get into our main interview with Mr. Banda. Now he is the Executive Director for Advocates for National Development and Democracy. He is the Executive Director and he joins us. Mr. Banda, good morning.
Morning, Mr. Fellow. Good morning to our dear viewers out there.
Good to see you this morning. Happy Easter, sir.
Fantastic. Happy Easter too.
Okay, thank you. Now, Mr. Banda, you are first of all an executive director. You are also a mining enthusiast, an economic enthusiast. Now, talking about matters that have to do with the economy, the recent one is the debt restructuring. Now, Mr. Banda, from the ANDD side, how do you look at the debt restructuring, and how did you have you overcome the debt restructuring? What are your views?
Thank you very much for that very important question bordering on our economy. Yeah, as the ANDD, we want to indicate that that is a positive development of debt restructuring. As you may be aware that the government achieved the debt restructuring with the bond holders. That is just another aspect. There's still a process. Government has not yet restructured local debt.
Okay.
Yeah, so there are three components to this debt restructuring. One, there's what we call public debt restructuring. That is or bilateral debt restructuring. That is country to country.
Okay.
Yeah, which was actually the first aspect that government achieved. And now this time, government has progressively achieved the debt restructuring with bondholder. These are private creditors, it could be banks, could be individuals, and we are looking forward government to achieve another aspect of the debt structure, which is local or domestic creditors.
Okay.
Now, what that means is that the government has been given space to grow the economy, allocate resources to productive sectors so that we can grow our domestic economy and raise enough resources to service the loan. Now, I want to put it on record that in as much as we have achieved this debt reduction as a country, what the question that we must ask ourselves, what economic plans or activities are we going to put in place to grow our economy?
Okay.
Look, Joe, from 2020, due to COVID-19, not just Zambia, but other countries stopped servicing debts. We have not been servicing debts from 2020.
Up to now?
Up to now. We will start in June. Now, the question we must ask ourselves, before I raise that question, that we must ask ourselves as a country, you saw President Hakainde Chilema celebrating the debt restructuring and other stakeholders the majority Zambia celebrating the debt restructuring. And President Hakainde Hichilema indicated that now the economy will grow. Now, as an advocate for national development, we are wondering how will the economy grow now, now that we will actually even be servicing debt starting in June, which is about 180 million USD per month. When in the last 2 years, when the UPND formed the government, have not been growing the economy. So we are wondering, and stakeholders are asking, what economic activities are we going to put in place? Now, this debt restructuring, comrade, it has given us a space of 20 years. We'll pay the whole amount together with the principal after 20 years.
After 20
now,
years.
What that means is that that does not mean that we will not stop servicing the debt. We will start servicing the debt by June 2024. Okay. After 20 years, that's when now we are going to clear off the debt together with the principal.
Wait, Mr. Banda, because I'm loving the way you're putting it. It's easier for a layman to understand what is currently going on. Now, when you talk about the debt restructuring, it means that this debt will be paid in the next 20 years. And looking at the senior citizens that are making these decisions, most of them won't be there. Truth be told, most of them won't be there. So it's our children, my children, that are going to come and pay this debt. Not so.
Yes. So they have extended the burden to 20 years. The burden actually is on us young people, you and me, and our fellow colleagues out there. Now, remember, I indicated that what the question we must ask ourselves is that what economic activities are we going to put in place?
Okay.
So that we grow the economy. One of the key benefits of debt restructuring, Joe, is that it gives you room, it gives you space to raise the resources. One, so that by the time the debt matures, you have resources to clear it off. It gives you space also if you are in business to grow the business. Now, in this case, as a country, it has given us a space to grow our domestic economy. Now, what the question must ask ourselves, what economic activities are we going to put in place so that we grow our domestic economy, not just for a purpose of clearing off debt, but for a purpose of also improving the living standards of our people, for a purpose of growing our economy for the benefit of everyone. Now, from AMDD's position, we've been recommending that government should focus on productive sectors such as mining and agriculture. This is where we generate more resources.
Okay.
Remember, Joe, that Zambia has always been a mining country. We are blessed with minerals, rich minerals. Copper, cobalt, now we have sugilite, we have gold. We have to take advantage of the minerals that we have, focus more resources, investing more in the mining sector so that we are able to generate more resources from the mining, more benefits, optimize the benefits from the mining sector, grow other industries, support other industries like manufacturing, support the SMEs. This is another sector which plays a very important role in driving our economy. Subsidize the agriculture sector so that we increase productivity, we increase production, so that we are able to grow more food, not just for local consumption, but also for exporting, so that we are able to earn more forex to add value to carries, kwacha. And apart from that, earn more profit and build wealth for our people. Now, remember, I raised the concern that in the last 2 years, maybe let's put it 3 years, from 2020 to up to date, government has not been servicing loan. Due to COVID-19, these creditors had to suspend servicing of the loan, not only for Zambia, but other countries. Yet, we have failed to grow our economy.
Now, what guarantee, Mr. Banda, do we have right now faced with so many challenges? You have talked about the mining sector. The mining sector, we had ZRA late last year saying that they do not collect enough revenue from the mines. Most of the mines evade tax payments. We heard that from ZRA. How are we going to collect enough revenue?
That is the former ZRA commissioner who raised that issue. Yes, and the ZRA chairman also added to say yes. Most of the mining sectors, mining industries or firms, they have been evading tax. Yes, continue.
Okay. Now, Mr. Banda, you have brought in the aspect of the agriculture sector. Now, in the agriculture sector, we are faced with the drought in most parts of the country. Now, how is it possible then to grow the economy coupled with these economic challenges? And obviously, currently, we are not seeing any policies being communicated to the public. They might not be there, but they are not in public domain for us, the journalists, information disseminators, to get the policies that are being put in place to make sure that the economy is grown through agricultural activities or policies that are being put in place so that the economy can grow. Mr. Banda, what do we need to do coupled with these economic challenges?
Let's be realistic, comrade. Let's be realistic. And as Zambians, we must be realistic in the way we approach development matters, in the way we approach economic policy. If we were to develop, we must not approach economic development with rhetoric policies. Look, I will start first by commenting on the mining sector. You raised the issue of evading tax. Yeah, it's good that we know, we understand. The first aspect to address a challenge is to find out what is the root cause. How are these mining firms evading tax? That's what we must understand. How? Let's build capacity. That's why we have Koba Belt University, we have UNZA, and we have to utilize these universities. We have to also, if these universities don't have the capacity to train our people to ensure that they audit these firms effective and efficient to avoid tax evading, let's take our people. Let's find out from other countries, how are they doing it in Botswana? How are they doing it in other countries?
Are we willing to learn? That's a question, Mr. Banda, that I need to ask you. Are we willing to learn, and maybe do we need political will in this particular matter?
It takes strong political will. Majority Zambians, I'll tell you, they are willing to learn. Zambians, they are hard working. That's why we have the majority graduates out there, but they are jobless. That's another indication that Zambians are hardworking, Zambians are intelligent, but they need capacity building. And development in terms of building capacity is a continuous process. The other issue that I wish to commend, that one I want to commend the UPND government, is the Mining Regulation Commission. This commission will be there to ensure that we avoid issues of tax evading. It will improve oversight, supervision over these mining firms. It's going to improve integrity and transparency. It's going to promote accountability in the mining sector. Now, it is important that we equip this Mining Regulation Commission, which government is yet to establish, to ensure that they operate effectively, efficiently, for the purpose of supervising these mining firms. It's going to provide oversight on these mining firms. I believe that is another agency which is going to help us to avoid such issues of tax evading. Again, what is important is that we need to invest more in the mining sector. We have Sugilite in Napola. Are you aware, Joe, that 10 trucks, tipper trucks of Sugilite can clear off all the debt? Sometimes I even wonder why we are crying over debt when we have these minerals.
Why
what are we supposed to do? Let's set up industrial exploration of sodalite in Wapula there. Let's use our minerals. And look, Joe, there's also a huge demand of copper because of manufacturing of electrical cars.
Okay.
Yeah. So let's take advantage of huge demand of copper, invest more in the mining sector, ensure that these deals in the mining sector are achieved on time. The issue of KCM, one of our mining giants we have, up to now the deal has not been closed. The Kaseseli gold mine, up to now, there are issues there. Government has not opened up Kaseseli mine. We hear discovery of gold in Mpika. Up to now, government has not yet set up industrial exploration.
Why are we so slow as a country in implementing policies or certain pronouncements that we make as a country, especially from officials? Why are we so poor when it comes to implementation, Mr. Banda?
We'll attribute that to lack of strong political will. I'll give a practical example, and I want us to be realistic on this matter.
Please.
The Honorable Minister of Mines, Boka Buswe, for example, on the issue of KCM, it started last year, September. He indicated that by December, even before December, we'll be able to finalize the transition process, legal transition process. Where are we now? We ended the first quarter.
This is first April?
Yes, first quarter of 2024, we ended, yet government has not closed the deal.
What's happening?
Is it lack of technical capacity? They should ask for help from stakeholders who can help them close these deals. I'm aware that the Minister of Mines was on TV, yesterday Diamond TV, where he indicated that the scheme of government is still, the scheme of arrangement is still in court. Government is still discussing with creditors. Comrade, government is the largest stakeholder on that issue. If there was a strong political will, that issue would have been closed by now. And we expected the Minister of Mines to apologize to Zambians. Why this issue? One, he must explain why this issue has taken long. Because KCM is a public asset. The people of the Copper Belt are depending on KCM for jobs and business opportunities. Apparently, we have seen every day the kwacha is depreciating because we are not exporting more copper to generate forex. And the reason why we are not exporting more copper, because KCM has not been operating optimally. Equally, other mines. It's just recently that Mopani, they managed to close the deal. We commend them for closing that deal. But we want to see production. We want to see Zambians also being prioritized in terms of jobs, also in terms of business opportunities. And that's one way we can grow our domestic economy and improve the living standards of Zambians.
Okay.
In terms of agriculture, you raised the issue of drought. I will tell you, before we had the drought, we still had less production in terms of agriculture produce. We had less production, more especially among subsistence farmers. And you know the reason, comrade? Among the reasons was that the government was delaying to deliver FISIP to increase, to ensure that farmers plant on time and plant on time, cultivate on time. And those are the issues. That's actually the main issue. Apart from delaying to deliver FISIP, the other issue was that government reduced. We saw, everyone saw where people were sharing fertilizer, Mutu Mameda. 60 years after independence, we are sharing Meda. 60 years after independence, we are cleaning up for millimil.
On that
it's an embarrassment.
On that one, Mr. Banda. On that one, Mr. Banda. You brought out the aspect of 60 years sharing farming inputs or fertilizer in Tumameda, like you put it. Mr. Banda, we are 60 years. We saw in the Kaunda administration where citizens would line up for milli meal. The same thing has come back. It's still happening where citizens are lining up for milli meal to access cheaper milli meal.
Two things you call it cheaper. When
in brackets, cheaper milli meal. What is
let's not abuse the word cheap, because our friends, our brothers and sisters are having 1 meal per day.
I've put it in inverted commas, Mr. Banda.
Okay.
Cheaper milli meal. Okay, to access the cheaper milli meal.
In inverted commas.
In inverted commas, yes. What is really happening? Administrations change, administrations come and go. The Zambian citizen remains the same. The poor still are getting poorer. The rich are getting richer. What is really happening, Mr. Banda? What is the change for? Why do people vote? Why do people elect leaders? And why 60 years down the line, we're still talking about the same challenges that impacted this country during the UNIP administration, the same challenges that we moved. The UNIP administration, the cost of living, the issues that have to do with milli meal, the high unemployment rate, eating 1 meal a day, surviving on less than $1 a day, Mr. Banda. Is this reasonable to a Zambian citizen?
Mr. Tapelo, in the interest of time, I'll put it in summary.
Okay.
Look, you are saying during UNIP times, people have been up for the meal. And I totally agree with you. Now we are 60 years and we expect that all these years the current government would have learned how to manage the economy well. More especially that they were voted on a premise of reducing the cost of living, the cost of doing business, and giving capacity to the private sector, not just to employ but also to grow. Now, we are also wondering where are the formulas, where are those formulas which our president was putting on Facebook and other media platforms, where it's going to reduce fuel. Let's look at the economic fundamentals now. Where it's going to reduce fuel. Fuel is one aspect, one important economic factor that plays a very important role in terms of promoting commerce and trade. When fuel goes up, you expect the cost of basic commodities to increase. What is happening to the kwacha today? They promise that the kwacha, the dollar will be trading against kwacha, or kwacha against dollar at 10 kwacha against the dollar. Today's what? It's 26. What that means is that the cost of also doing business and basic commodities will go up. Now, let me take this opportunity to, first of all, we start from UNIP. MMD learned a lesson. They opened the economy, a free market economy, and we saw some improvement. Yes. From MMD, PF learned also some lessons from MMD, because under MMD, trust me, we never saw the infrastructure that we have now. With the growing population, PF prioritized in terms of setting up infrastructure, infrastructure facilities, including industrial hubs. Look at the ZNS milling plants we have today, which the UPND themselves are using, in inverted commas, to produce a cheap milling mill. I can imagine if we didn't have these ZNS milling plants, milling mill by this time would have been selling at 1,000 ZNS, or I mean just milling mill in general, if we didn't have these plants. So now, PF set up infrastructure development, which has given capacity to the UPND government even to employ health workers, to employ teachers. It's because of this infrastructure. Not so. Today I can drive from Silverest, Comrade, using proper roads, proper network, and I'm able to go wherever I'm going on time. Now, that is a good development. They set up healthy facilities to promote health. That is a good development. In terms of agriculture, we saw under PF that FISIP was coming on time. Now, we expected the UPND government to capitalize on the strength or the development that the PF left and build up on that and correct the mistakes that the PF were making. And that way, that is the only or one way we can grow progressively our economy. But this system of was development and previous government, and because you've got some political differences.
Why is it like that? Why is it like that in Africa? I want to find out, because coming from both sides, from the old school and now in the new school, like the millennials would put it, you find that when MMD came, they wanted to erase everything that UNIP did.
But the only thing that which I blame MMD was to privatize the companies.
Yes.
For
they sold everything.
Yeah, they sold everything. And today, our young people are jobless. Our brothers and sisters are jobless in majority because we don't have industries. Industries were privatized. Now, PF lent. And I must be frank. Okay. Yes, PF had this one weaknesses, it had this one issues. PF lent from what the MMD messed up. And they capitalized on the strength of MMD. FISIP. FISIP was highly promoted, remember, by Manawasi and Rupia Banda. And we saw,
so the PF continued.
Yes, we saw productivity. You know, we saw efficiency and effectiveness in the agriculture sector. We saw subsistence farmers growing in maize, and that is why under PF mini-meal was affordable. Okay. At least a common man would afford without queuing up. You know, so in that regard, comrade, we need to commend the PF. So in the area of now industrialization, which is very important, no country can develop without industries. Tell me, comrade, any country now that develop, it has industries, because industries gives, apart from jobs, industries gives business opportunities. You know, it improves the living standards of the people. It improves the welfare of the people. It also contributes to the treasury. It adds to the tax base, you know, of revenue for the country. Without industries, the tax base also gets reduced. As a result, government will milk even the small population which is contributing. They will end up increasing tax. As a result, money won't even be making sense. And the role of the government is to create a conducive environment, for everyone, you know, for business people to grow, for those interested to do business, to set up their businesses, you know, for those who are working to find value or to have value for what they are working for. That's the purpose of the government.
But how are they going to?
Now let's get back to the issue of why we must ask ourselves, why is UPND not capitalizing on the strength of PF? For example, of course, the only issue that we have seen that the UPND, of course, with that caters to the PF, the UPND without paying caters or appreciating gratitude to the PF or indicating that no, the PF built schools, PF built hospitals, that's why we are able to employ. At least in that area, yes, the UPND has done well. It has employed our health workers, it has employed the teachers, and we highly commend them. Now, in the area of agriculture, why is FISIP delayed? We have nitrogen chemicals of Zambia in Kafue, you know, which has a capacity at some point. Nitrogen chemicals of Zambia used to supply the whole southern, the whole Sadiq region, fertilizer, both D compound and what do you call it, a base. Yes.
Urea?
Yeah, urea. So, we can, let's invest in nitrogen chemicals of Zambia in Kafue. Let's innovate that industry. Let's give it capacity. And let's build more industries, manufacture industry for fertilizer.
So my question is,
so that reduce the cost of these farming input.
Now my question is, Mr. Banda, how are you going to build or run viable industries as a country at the backdrop of load shedding? We are told load shedding, it's a done deal, it's gone, it will never come back. We are now seeing 8 hours. First of all, it's normally initiated on a Monday. 8 hours was initiated on a certain Monday. Today, the 1st of April, we are being told 8 hours has been split into 4 hours each. And we don't know when this load shedding will end. I'm thinking about that lady that owns a salon, that boy, that gentleman that owns a barbershop, welder, you know. How are they going to thrive? And you're talking about having an indaba for SMEs at the backdrop of all these challenges. Are they going to even attend that indaba when they need to make money from that particular barbershop before you switch them off?
It's a sad development, Tapelo. And
it's now becoming a challenge.
In my preamble, that is why I indicated that we must be realistic with
this is what is obtaining on the ground, Mr. Banda.
We must not just be good when making good pronouncements or speaking
which can be implemented.
Good English, because our people want it speeches, our people want it good English. We must be very realistic. With this load shedding, it's very difficult to plan for business. Even you as a customer, Joe, it
took me 8 hours yesterday.
Then even when you go there now, you will find a queue because everyone now wants to have
a haircut.
Yes. By the time that Baba man get a cover to form a light now,
that's what happened.
That is the loss of business and the loss of revenue, which is impacting negatively that business person.
And that's a rented property.
Yes, that's a rented property. And the landlord.
Once they
yes, Sazakamba no, because we're the shading. Everzakuza no, we are agreeing our pillar 1,000. So we are reducing on profitability, we are reducing on productivity. Our SMEs, like I indicated, play a very important role in creating employment and also contributing to our national treasury. But with these economic detrimental policies, it's not good for the growth of SMEs. It's actually hindering the growth of these SMEs. Meaning we are shrinking our own domestic economy, we are promoting poverty and hunger in the country. There is njala makombo Tapelo. Not that people are not working hard, like some of our friends are saying, no, just work hard. How do you work hard? We are shading. Our brothers and sisters are working hard. Those who are more especially those who are in private sector, my saloons, my restaurant, you know, the barber men, the warders. How do they survive? It's very, very tough. So government needs to not just splitting the load shedding. They must reduce. They must reduce the hours of load shedding.
I was thinking
any economy, economy. Will be private sector, more especially SMEs, which have grown, go everywhere in a developed country or developing country. Government has to be there to provide incentives to these SMEs. The same way we are providing incentives to foreign investors. Now, we have, for example, Citizens Economic Empowerment Commission. With this load shedding, if let's say they reduce the number of hours, it will not just end there. Let's also give them what we call, maybe you can call them boosters, business boosters. Maybe in this period, if government can give a time frame, say, okay, load shedding according to our determination, maybe after 6 months. Give, maybe for 6 months, to my rentals. Again, we'll talk about the resources. Where are we going to get the resources?
The resources.
The mining sector.
Okay.
The mining sector.
How do we maximize?
I told you that 10 tipper of Switzerland can clear off the debt.
So why aren't you doing that, Mr. Banda?
And having debt does not mean that the economy should stop growing. Having drought, it must not mean that people must stop eating. Zambia is not the first country to have drought.
China has got the debt. America,
Singapore has a debt. It should be about 168 billion USD. But they are. The economy is thriving. Russia nayo in Nkongole. What is the solution? The solution I'm talking about: growing our domestic economy, putting sound economic policies that will ensure that they reduce the cost of doing business. Because we understand that the government cannot employ anyone. The government cannot give business opportunity to anyone. What is the solution? Give capacity to the private sector.
But the SMEs, Mr. Banda,
look at the economic fundamentals.
The SMEs are being choked. One, fuel pump prices are high.
Load shedding.
The kwacha as well is not performing well. And I'm thinking about that lady, Mr. Banda, that wakes up early in the morning to make a fritters.
Vitumbua. Malasha ya dula. Transport ndio achosa kunsanga kuja ya dula. So nayo malasha ya dula.
So now the SMEs are being choked, Mr. Banda. How they
you ask me the solution.
What's the solution?
Now look at this. Let's look at the root cause. When we talk about kwacha, say why is kwacha depreciating? One is because Zambia, you know, is an import-driven country. We are because it's an import-driven country. For us to import goods or raw materials to produce more goods or to manufacture products, we have to ensure that the cost of importing is low. So what that means is that the kwacha has to trade at least fairly, so that the costs of producing goods gets low. But Jarakunisa Mamotoka, for example, Tia cheap, after Gula Traki, Yambo Peleka Sandy, maybe for construction, Kutia stay importing Bonobuino, the dollar, the kwacha has to trade fairly. So now the question we must ask ourselves, what are we supposed to do to add value to our kwacha? To give stability to our kwacha? We need to export more commodities. Now, as a country, like I've always been indicating consistently, that we have copper, which is a major export commodity, which accounts 90% of our forex and contributes 80% to our GDP. Now, the question is that how do we increase copper production? Let's invest in the mining sector, and we must not shy to approach to talk about these issues. They should not give us that mindset of donor, no, but pass and drama, so naimwe mwatotera, no debt restructuring, naimwe mwatotera. We must not celebrate that. We must celebrate achievements. For example, to increase copper production. Let's say if per annum, for example, one mine in KCM was producing, let's say 300,000 metric tons, maybe per annum increase to 700,000.
Then people can clap.
Then people can clap. Then you say, okay, if they are giving business opportunity to local suppliers and contractors, let's say per annum, if they were giving, let's say 10, we increase it maybe to 20 because production now has increased. Meaning even there is the supply has to increase of critical issues. We must celebrate as such, because we know once we increase production, we are not just meeting the global demand, but we are also generating profit. When we make profit from the mining sector, what are we supposed to do? Let's look at, okay, we need sector manje, so that everyone can afford agriculture. Let's channel the subsidize agriculture. Our Bazungu Bazaku, for example, IMF don't subsidize fuel, don't subsidize agriculture sector. But go to America, agriculture is heavily subsidized. Go to China, that sector is heavily agriculture is heavily
so why do they tell us
to as a result, food there is very cheap.
So why
go to Germany? Go to Germany. It's only 6 German in terms of agriculture. It accounts about 6% of people or farmers who are doing farming. 6% of them, but this same 6% of farmers, they are able to feed the whole nation and able to
6% from the entire population.
From the entire population, and these are heavily subsidized. These are heavily supported, and they are able not only to feed their domestic economy, but also they're able to export. Now, look here. We are blessed with land. We are blessed with water. We have got the rivers all over. What is the challenge? Lack of commitment, lack of strong political will, and we are just good at talking. We must change our mindset. We must change that attitude. We must be action oriented. Where we don't have capacity, let's learn from people of capacity and ensure that we do the due diligence. We have been talking, for example, practically on the issue of KCM.
Okay.
Maminozi siaola maminozi jo. Simonga maminozi simonga ati mvula ati no drought. Ekuzanga la drought no kulisha. Maminozi befuna chabe in technical capacity. Technical capacity and the resources, equipment, mambo mine. Demand, when you talk of market is already there. It's not like tomato manje market hapa, maybe a cheaper. No, maminozi siaola. Every day we are people talking about copper, cobalt. We are about people talking about emeralds. You know that we are there
to maximize on our minerals, Mr. Banda.
That's why I'm saying we the advocates of national development and democracy. That's why you've seen us going more aggressively advocating for the revamping of the mining sector in Zambia, and we call upon other stakeholders. We call upon majority Zambians. We call upon the youths to take interest in the mining sector, because we believe that mining sector is what will develop this country. Mining sector is what will improve our lives. Look at Zambia. It's not the way. You look at Zambia the way it's looking today. Of course, in terms of infrastructure, we have improved a bit, but this is not the way it's supposed to look, considering the resources that we have. Look at the unemployment levels we have in this country. You know, it's so sad, Joe. As if we don't have resources. We have sujilite. You know, sujilite is even easy to mine. You don't need a lot of equipment. You hate those kind of which were happening. Bezo kumba na chance. Sima shavels na mapiki. How much were we hearing in dramas is not millions.
It's 750 million.
Yeah, so
United States dollars.
Yes. Now, what is the problem? Why can't we get maybe create an agency or utilize ZDNS, or just apart from these cooperatives, let's set up a proper industry. We are tired of hearing no. Do you
have any viable cooperatives?
I'm not aware of any viable cooperative. We just even the Minister of Mines on a program yesterday on Diamond TV. I was talking about figures which have not heard. Cooperatives, we set up cooperatives, we are doing
are they viable? How much are they contributing?
For how long are we going to talk about mapping? When mukambera bantu bashita discover ma minerals, mwabakonga tiligo miners. For how long are we going to talk about vizungu vama mapping? We are doing this. No
exploration.
Let's talk about, let's be action oriented. What we want to hear by now, we have discovered sojilite. First step, for example. Or we have discovered the gold. What are we supposed to do? How much resources do we need to set up an exploration industry? Okay. For now, if we use Mashabios and Mapik, how much do you think we can raise? Okay, $750 million US. How much is it to set up an industry? It's this cost. Let's do Namashabios, Namapik, and to make sure that there's accountability, there's transparency, there's efficiency.
But that was
when we raise those resources, build an industry there.
Mr. Banda, as you begin to conclude, that was happening in Rufunsa. And what the chief in that area did is that those that discovered the copper deposits, they didn't need complicated equipment. They were just using picks and shovels.
What
happened? They were chased, sent away from the village, And obviously, who's benefiting from our minerals, Mr. Banda? I want to find out, for the sake of the viewers out there, who's benefiting from our minerals, because when you go to Rufunsa, that particular road that leads to that particular village where these copper deposits were discovered, you can't even call it a road. The roads on the copper belt, talk about Mumbwa here, talk about Northwestern Province, they're in a deployable state. But they're the roads that allow our minerals to go out, not even in, to go out of the country. Who's benefiting from our minerals, Mr. Banda? The people of Zambia want to know. 60 years after independence, I think we need to have an honest conversation when it comes to our minerals. As we begin to conclude,
I'm happy you've indicated that we need to have an open and honest conversation on these matters. And that is why, as NDD, we are not shy to talk about these issues openly. We are not shy to indicate to the public that what government is doing right and what government is not doing right. Because we believe our government can only deliver good development when we provide good checks and balances, when we advise using such platforms like where we are today. Yeah. So as you may be aware, Mr. Tapelo, as NDD, our position has always been clear.
Okay.
That these are mining firms. Let's ensure that we come up with critical policies to compel them to do good corporate social responsibility programs in areas where they have operations. For example, I'll give you a practical example. Vendata Resources has been clear in terms of how much they have allocated for corporate social responsibility programs, and they have indicated that this $20 million US for corporate social responsibility will be spent in critical sectors like health and agriculture, and also infrastructure, as well as supporting educational programs. We shall monitor in an event that Vendata takes full control of KSM. We shall monitor that to ensure that they implement that corporate social responsibility program. Now, with other mining firms, equally on Mopani, government recently reached a deal with International Resources Holding. We have not heard how much this investor, International Resources, how much it has put aside for corporate social responsibility programs where Mopani has operations, which is Mfolira. We are interested, Zambians are interested. Operate mu community. We just don't want
for the community to benefit.
We just don't want to hear that we shall support the community, but with how much?
Support them in which way?
In which way? Yes, that's a very good question. In which way? Is it agriculture? Are you going to be providing school scholarships? Are you going to upgrading the roads? But more importantly, even we must not just leave these mining firms to decide what they want to do for us. We must be able to sit on a table with these mining firms. For example, in Mufulira, there are stakeholders, government, the church, the community, and the investor must sit down to say, here in Mufulira, look, our roads are bad. Here, we don't have enough health facilities. Here,
social amenities.
Yes, here we don't have this and this. Here, this is what we want you to do, and pay. We have given you a target of this because you are benefiting from our minerals. That's what we are going to develop. I'm happy with the initiative that Vendata has put in terms of corporate social responsibility programs. They are saying that they will set up what they call a community trust. A community trust meaning that they will be able to engage the community and ask them, what do you want muno Muchingola? What do you want here Munampundwe? What do you want here in Kitwe? So from that they'll be able to know, okay, maybe our people want water facilities, my balls.
Okay.
They can't chaiko my ball. Maybe movie patala.
As we go, Mr. Banda.
Let's do so. We want to commend them on that, and we want to call upon President Hakainde Hichilema in the interest of restoring national economic development with this debt restructuring. I want to indicate that this debt restructuring won't have any impact on the economy if we don't improve our domestic economy, if we don't reduce the cost of living, if we don't reduce the cost of doing business, if we don't revamp industries, the money firms, and create jobs for our people. So in that regard, President Hakainde Hichilema should ensure that KCM, before the end of this second quarter, which we have just entered, we want to see KCM start operating. With Mopani Mine, we are interested to hear the investor how much has he put on the table for corporate social responsibility programs. I'm happy, of course, to note that the investor has indicated that they won't fire anyone. They will maintain the same workers at Mopani, which is a very good thing, and they want them actually to employ more of more Zambians, and that way we'll be able to grow our economy. In terms of business opportunities, we want to call upon international resources to ensure that they prioritize giving business opportunity to our local people, suppliers, and contractors. By doing that, we'll be able to grow our domestic economy positively.
Okay, Mr. Banda, let me thank you most sincerely. I know it's a public holiday, but you did find time to come through and discuss national important matters. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Apello, for the wonderful invitation. I was glad to communicate to our people. It's important that we have these honest conversations. Thank you.
Okay, let's underline the word honesty, seeing that he has risen, and obviously we are celebrating Easter. It's important to have honest conversations. Thank you so much to the entire production team, my director, Mr. Isaac Chifita, and the rest of the production team. I have been your host, Joe Smarter is my name. We'll see you next time, same place. Good morning and God bless.